Hi, this is Javier Encinas. ASDIP Retain 4 will be released in a few days. Today I'm going to show you a quick overview of the most important features in this new version of a retaining wall design software. If you're familiar with ASDIP Retain 3, you will notice immediately that there's a new module here, Counter for Retaining Wall, which is included now in this new version of ASDIP Retain. Let's get started with a Cantilever retaining wall module. Open a calculation. Let's assign a name, any name. It's added to the tree. Double click. This is the Cantilever retaining wall design module. This new version includes a new layout based on tabs. Now the information is organized better in a more logical way, so you can find all the information in tab pages. This is better and more effective for data input. Okay, I will focus only on the new features, so I will not spend a lot of time showing all the capabilities of the software. I have shown that in the previous videos. You can check it out. Today I'm going to focus on the new features, on what changed in this new version. So at a glance, you can see just a summary of the calculations, condense a more detailed set of calculations in detail. All these calculations with exposed formulas and reference to the code, etc. In graph, you can see a graphic view of your retaining wall. Well, as you can see, the layout is now cleaner, graphics are better. You can select a combination in your stem design. This tab is new. The footing is now included in ASDIP Retain 4, so you can see the design of the toe and the design of the heel. And of course the construction view with more rebars and more labels. But the most important feature in this version is that now the retaining wall includes piles, can be supported on piles. If you go to in the geometry, you go to the footing tab, there's a check mark here. Wall is supported on pile. If it's checked, now the wall is supported on pile. This is a completely new feature in this version 4, and that affects all the calculations and all the information and all input and output and everything. I'm going to show you very quickly how that works. So you can see all the calculations, and graphically you can see the piles are shown there. There's a new tab here also that says piles, where you can define the spacing, the size of the piles, if it's round, if it's square, it shows the shape there. If it's H shape, shows there as well. Okay, and in the construction view, you can also see that. The piles can be better. Just click on this check mark, and the battery is shown there graphically. If there's another row of piles, just click on here, pile row at center, click on there, and there's a new row pile. If it's better, okay, just click on here, it's better. And of course you can change the spacing and everything. You can manipulate everything. The spacing between piles, the spacing between rows, everything. So this is a great new feature. When you select piles, the footing tab shows this graph here. Shows the moment and shear diagram of the footing and a plan view of the retaining wall, a pile cap. You can see here your 3 rows that you define. Whatever you change in here is reflected there. For example, piles. If I select, there's a row at the center. If I select, for example, less spacing, let's say 6, you can see here that change accordingly. If change any dimension is reflected graphically there. and you can select the diagrams by load combination or the controlling combination. And of course, in the construction, the pile cap is also shown there. So this is a great feature in this new version. Of course, you can print out the results, say the contents report generating here. So you can see here the pre-formatted report with the graphics included there. You see, everything is in there. So this is a very quick overview of the cantilever retaining wall. Let's go back to the project manager. Let's open now the restrained retain wall, which is a module that was Retain 3, the previous version. So let's go to the new features in this module. Again, you can see the new layout as well, similar to the other module. Everything is in tabbed pages. And of course, you can see here the supported on piles option. If it's supported on piles, it's shown there. It's supported at the top. This version includes an intermediate support. You see this check mark. If you check mark this one, there's an intermediate support added to the wall. So you have a 2-story basement wall design in this version. This is a very requested feature. So let's go to the graph page directly, so you can see then the new support at the middle is added there. Of course, you can define where is it located. If it's not 9 but 10, that's fine. You see it's shown there here. If it's taller, fine. Everything is drawn to scale. Backfill, let's go to 18 all the way up. You see the backfill is all the way up. If you go to the stem tab, you can see the new support at the middle, and the most important is that the moment diagram and the shear graph diagram show now a continuous beam. The stem is now continuous, either pin or fixed at the bottom, but is there's an intermediate support there and a pin support at the top. So the moment and the shear diagram reflect that. If you go back and just uncheck the intermediate support, you go to the original layout of just supported at top and bottom, different moment diagram and shear diagram. But if it's a 2-story, then it's a continuous beam that we're dealing with. The footing is similar to the cantilever retaining wall version that we saw before, and the construction view that shows either piles or not piles. Let me take out the piles. It could be like that. If we have a shear key, let's include a shear key. So whatever you change in the information here, in the input data, is reflected there in the charts, in the graph at the right. The footing, again, you can design the toe or the heel, or if it's supported on piles, that changes to this form with the pile cap, shear and moment diagrams, and the plan view of the pile cap. So let's go back to the new module, the module counter for retaining wall. Let's go there. This is a completely new module. Let's go to that in more detail. Okay, this is the counter for retaining wall module. As you can see now, the wall is cantilever, but the stem is supported on counterforts, meaning that these counterforts are perpendicular elements, perpendicular to the stem, providing lateral support to the stem. So the stem is no longer a cantilever wall. The stem is now a continuous horizontal beam. And of course, you can specified dimensions of the counterforce, spacing, thicknesses, lengths, all that is there. Again, in the footing, you can specify that it is supported on piles. So it's counterfort on piles or counterfort not on piles. So it's a very handy and very flexible input. You can see that the new layout is much better. It's clearer, more efficient. You can find the variables exactly where they're supposed to be. In the graph tab, you can see the stability tab shows the pressures on the wall and the forces on the wall. You can select by load combination, and will show you, the pressures accordingly. In the stem, as I said, now the stem is no longer a cantilever vertical wall, but it's a horizontal continuous beam. You can see the shear and the moment diagram that is internally designed. The footing, similar to the other modules, you can design the toe and the heel. Then you can see the counterforce and the stem, and the piles and the pile cap. You can enter any information, and the information is immediately reflected in the program and calculated internally. So, to summarize, we have three important features in this new version. The first important feature is that the walls now can be supported on piles, either directly on soil or with piles, up to 3 rows of piles. So this is a great feature in this version. Second feature is that the restraint wall can be now 2-story. So you can specify an intermediate support. These are very requested features, and we have implemented this in this version. So this is a great feature as well, and of course can be supported on piles as well. And the third important feature in this version is the addition of this new module in the software. This is a counterfort retaining wall design. This is also a very requested module in the past by our users. So we have implemented this fully in this version. You can design counterfort retaining walls, and the counterfort retaining walls can be also supported on piles or not supported on piles. So this is a great version of this retaining wall design software, ASDIP Retain 4. The release date is March 14. So stay tuned. I will be in touch, showing you more information as it's available. We are still working on the version, but we'll be ready for March 14. Thank you very much for your attention. We'll see you in the next video.